Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. This is going to be my eyeshadow palette review video for December. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me here again today. Today I have my final eyeshadow palette review of 2024 for you. I tried 17 new to me eyeshadow palettes in December, so let's go over to review, which will include looks, swatches, as well as close-ups that I did with all of these palettes. 17 is a lot, so let me just get to it. So I tried a whole host of brands this month. There are some more high-end things from like Sephora brands, as I like to call them. There is a European sort of like drugstore brand in here, as well as a whole host of K-beauty and C-beauty products that I got in the fall time because I knew I wanted to try some more palettes, especially because I was seeing so many cool C-beauty palettes on my Instagram feed, and I was like, you know what, I've not tried a lot of Chinese makeup brands, so that's what I want to do, and that's what went in here. So I'll first talk about Sigma and Makeup by Mario, then I'll talk about Isadora, and then the rest of the video is going to be a lot of K-beauty and C-beauty stuff. So let's start with the Sigma palette. This is the Ambiance, or Ambience, whatever you want to call it. This palette was sent to me in PR, and it was part of the gift that Sigma sent me earlier in the year, and I still needed to do some looks with it. I did a full face of Sigma in December, so you can see me use this palette live on camera if you'd like to see that. So I'll make sure to link that video in the description box down below. I also have a code with Sigma, and I just saw on an email that I got from them that from December 26th onwards, if you use my code, you can get 40% off, I think, of the entire website. So if you were still looking for new Sigma products and you can shop through the official Sigma website, then I'll pop the code on the screen right here, because that can be something that you then want to use, and I can make a small commission. Just to be fully transparent here, here's what the Ambience looks like. It is a warm color story that if I had to pick it myself, I probably wouldn't have gone for it. However, I have been on a more warm toned kick in 2024, so this is definitely up my street. That I've been wanting to try some more warm tones, and this is just a really lovely palette. I do really enjoy the color story of this. If you have fair skin, this can still work really well, especially if you do like a warm tone, because in here you don't get a lot of things that are incredibly deep. One of my main issues with some of the Sigma palettes I had already tried in the past is that they go incredibly deep, and some of the shades just don't look very distinct on my very fair skin. But with this, I had no issues, and there is definitely a range of warm tones here. I feel that these pull a little bit more neutral, then we go very orangey and spicy, and then we go into more towards a more mustardy yellow realm towards the other end of the palette. So this was lovely. I ended up doing 3 different looks with this. One look I do think I took pictures of at the end of the day, so that wasn't looking all that perfect anymore. It wasn't like right after I applied, because I had forgotten to take pictures when I wore it the first time. But yeah, I did 3 looks with this. This is the Sigma formula that I know that I like. I did already own 3 other Sigma palettes that I did pay for with my own money, so I know I enjoy this quality. It's not a brand where I feel I need to own all of them. And now that I've tried this, I do think I want to keep this in my makeup collection as a good staple warm tone palette that can like really fit that bill for me. So it's also one that I really did enjoy. The next palette I have for you is the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes Moonlight Edition. So at the start of the year, I actually tried out the original Ethereal Eyes that I picked up at the end of 2023, which was re-released because it originally came out as a limited edition palette for Christmas in 2022. I missed out on it then. I thought I could pick it up later, and it sold out and it didn't come back. So when it came back in 2023, I snatched it up in a heartbeat, and it was definitely one of my favorite picks of like the first half of the year. So when they released a more cooler toned version of that same sort of concept, you knew I would be all over it. And this is so pretty. It's really, really pretty. It is the Ethereal Eyes formula that I love and adore, that has a more cool tone leaning color story. I do feel though that this is a cool tone palette that is perfect for people who are more neutral to warm leaning. If you have a true cool undertone, then I think some of the shades on this side of the palette may actually be too warm toned for you. On me, the only true, like, more warm-leaning shades I have are, like, these two shades. Everything else is very neutral on me. There are some really stunning taupey gray shimmers in here. I love this gray. This looks more like a mauve on me. Same for this, like, brown that has a little bit of purple running through it. I just think that if you have a very cool undertone, that those things may actually pull a little bit warmer, because they definitely do have some warmth in them. So same with this Ethereal Eyes. I felt that that one looks a lot warmer toned than it actually is. I feel that this one looks more cool toned than it actually is. To me, they are perfect smack in the middle neutral palettes with perhaps some warm leaning shades as well as cool leaning shades. And this one is definitely more cool leaning overall. I did really need the blue though. I wish that the blue was like a matte, deeper taupe, like a deeper version of this. I would have liked that better, because the blue is a little bit random and I'm not going to use it for anything other than perhaps a bit of liner and perhaps a pop on the lower lash line. I don't feel the blue matte is good enough to be used as like a crease shade or all over the lid. It definitely can be a little bit patchy if you try to blend it too much. I think it can still be pretty as a base under some of these shimmers to give them a bit of extra dimension and sparkle. The black is nice. I really enjoy all the other mattes that are in here. And as I mentioned, I do really enjoy the shimmer formula of these Makeup by Mario palettes, especially, mainly because it's such a special formula. It picks up really well with the brush, but it's a formula that you need to layer. So the first like wash of color that you'll get is truly that, a wash of color. Shears out beautifully. It just adds that hint of sparkle that will give you this ethereal vibe, but you can build it up to full intensity and make them look a little bit more metallic. And if you wet them or use them with fingers, you again get a different effect. So I feel that this is truly like showing the makeup artistry that's behind this brand, because it is a very versatile palette, because all of the formulas are so like tailor-made, like depending on the brush you use or the techniques you use, you will get a different look every time, even though these shades are perhaps a little bit boring. Next up are the 4 palettes I almost forgot to review for you guys, because these are the little Isadora bits that I picked up when I was in Sweden over the summertime. I picked these up not expecting too much of them. They were on huge discount. I was staying in Gothenburg at the time, and in the shopping mall next to my hotel, there was this little pop-up store with Isadora sale products where everything was being sold for 40% off. So I think these are older products. You probably won't be able to pick them up anymore. But I had a look like in store in Kicks. They sell the brand normally. And one of these quads retails for 20 euros each. And I picked up all 4 of these for 13 euros. And I have had people asking me if I could try Isadora. And you know me, I love my eyeshadow palettes. So what's the first thing I want to try from a brand I haven't tried before? It's gonna be their eyeshadow palette. So I picked up 4 little quads that looked like they could be fun. I picked up one bright thing. This is Palm Beach. And Palm Beach is this really nice, bright and vibrant number. It looks more intense and intimidating in the pan, I have to say, than it did going on to my eyes. I was afraid that this little quad would make me look like like time traveled into 2024 from the 80s. Because these shades just give 80s vibes to me. You know, that sort of really bright, vibrant color. And especially because these are all satins, I was very afraid. But they were very blendable. This goes for all 4 of the palettes. Really blendable, easy to use eyeshadow. Is it 2024 makeup though? No. This is the kind of formula I remember having back when I first started buying makeup as a teenager, which I would only wear if I were going out to a party or something. So it's very much like end of the 90s, early 2000s makeup in terms of quality. It is good quality makeup, but I do feel that if you were to pay full price for any of these, you would be pretty disappointed, especially with where makeup stands currently. Let me see. The one that I thought was a little bit disappointing color story-wise was Vintage Velvet. This looks like a really beautiful, like, taupey color story. And on my lids, I just felt that this didn't translate very well. Yes, it was pretty, but I just think that I have other palettes that can do this for me. I thought when I bought it that it had a little bit more green to it, but then when I got it home and it wasn't like in the sparkly lights of the store, I felt it was just another boring brown palette that I have a million times over in my collection. The two I liked best were the purpley tones. They do a purple tone really well, and those are things that can be difficult to formulate, but this really nice grayish purple color story is called Rockstar. I do feel that some of the deeper mattes, like you can see where I've like hit it with my finger, like that's usually not a good sign if your fingers leave that like obvious marks in the eyeshadow, but this was pretty, and especially this shade was really nice and sparkly, a little bit different from other things. And then Crystal Mauve is another grayish blue, like grayish purple palette that is a little bit lighter, and it just has a little bit more of a neutrally vibe to it. I think Rockstar and Crystal Mauve can be really pretty combined, like they combine really well, and I do like that Rockstar does have a matte in. These again have that more like satin finish to it, which I know a lot of people with more mature lids really enjoy because they can experience a lot of flaking with very overly sparkly shadows. These are great if that's you because these have zero fallout. They are so easy to use. I just feel that this is the kind of makeup that I remember being around 25 years ago, and we're 25 years ahead from now. So from that. So I don't think that this is necessarily like super exciting makeup, but it was definitely worth trying it for like a while now. I tried some K-beauty stuff as well. So I tried Clio. Clio is one of my favorite brands when it comes to K-beauty eyeshadow. And this is very much that K-beauty vibe where the pigment is pretty much non-existent. So if you don't like sheer eyeshadow, you're not gonna love it. And this is their Sugar Plum, I believe it's called. With some of these K-Beauty and C-Beauty palettes, I'm going to have to refer you to the description box because a lot of the writing on it is in a language I don't speak. So very often I don't know the full name of the palette. So I'll make sure to go back to the order and copy paste the full name of the product into the description box. But I don't have that here as I'm filming it. But this is the, oh, no, that's just shade name. Yes, it's called Season Plum. That's what this is called. I don't find it very plum, though. It's very pink. That's why I picked it up. But I definitely thought it would be more purpley pink leaning, and this is more like peachy pink. So it definitely pulled a little bit warmer than I had expected, especially because on YESSTYLE, if you click the information towards the left, you always see these like leaflets that you can scroll through. And this is listed by Clio as one of their coolest toned options. I didn't find it that cool toned. It's pretty, but this light side is a little bit too light for me, actually. I got a really pretty look out of these shades. These barely showed up on me. Can they be nice blending shades where there's some really stunning shimmers in here? For certain. But I don't think this is going to be my favorite Clio palette, and I just hope that this would give me like that pretty pinky toned look that is all over YESSTYLE at the minute. Like so much of K and C beauty is like these really pretty pinky tones, and I thought this could give that to me, but it's not exactly what I was looking for. Then another K beauty brand is Seek. This was another one that I felt a little bit disappointed by. This is their Autumn Breeze eyeshadow palette, and this looked again so different on the website than it did in real life. It is a little bit more warmer toned, but I have my Romand Mahogany Garden, which is one of my favorite warm tone palettes I think I tried all year. That's really stunning. And this is like a more muted down version of that. So if you like a muted warm tone, go for this for sure. Those shimmers are pretty. But when I was using this really reminded me of the 3CE and Holika Holika palettes that I actually decluttered this year, because they just didn't really make for very distinct looks, and I feel the same here. Pretty, yes, but it's essentially one look in a palette, and with 9 shades, I don't really need that. So this was also just not the kind of color story. I thought this was more like taupe leaning browns, whereas once I got it home, it looked a little bit orange and mustardy. Then I also tried some Judy Doll. This is the all-in-one eyeshadow palette, so you should be able to do a full face look with it. I don't remember the name of it, but it's one of their cooler toned ones, and I was very excited for this. I just use it as eyeshadow. I'm sure this is supposed to be like a highlighter or a powder. This could essentially be a contour, but this looked really pretty when it was new. I'll make sure to pop that picture up on the screen, especially because of this shade here in the corner. This shade in the corner looked so stunning when it wasn't used, but now that I've used it, do you see that mark? That really pretty sparkly layer is just that. It's a layer, and once you dig through that, you get a really pretty, more mauve-leaning, satiny shade, but this intense amount of sparkle isn't embedded everywhere in the shade. It's like an overspray. It's a really thick overspray, because after just swatching it, it didn't show up. The actual shade that's underneath didn't show up until I had actually used a brush with it, which is a bit of a shame. So this is like traditionally, I think, going to be like the eyeshadow that you're going to use. Really pretty, but I had just wanted a little bit more from this. It just, because of that overspray, I really wasn't happy with this one. Yes, it's pretty. It's really pretty eyeshadow, but I just thought that overspray was something we weren't doing anymore in 2024, and they very obviously do. And then I think everything else is definitely going to be like C Beauty brands. I'm not sure if this is C Beauty. I think this is also Chinese beauty, a Chinese beauty brand, Judy Doll is. But this is by Shadella. This I don't have a name for. This I thought looked like it's going to be a really pretty cool tone color story. Look at that. It reminds me of the Essence Cool edition that I loved so much last year. That was discontinued, so I thought if I can find an alternative for it, it may actually be a good thing. But this, it was cheap. It was one of the cheapest options I tried all month, but this just wasn't quite it. I struggled picking up the two shimmers. Once applied to the lids, I couldn't really see a difference between the two. The mattes were really powdery and chalky. This wasn't great. I didn't love this at all. This is one where I'm like, I could have saved my money there. Then I tried 3 Floored palettes. These two I actually already got over the summertime, and I saved them because I knew I wanted to place a larger eyeshadow order already on YESSTYLE. I was like, I'll just try these when I have the rest in. And this is another palette from Floored that I wanted to try because I thought it was going to give me that really pretty pinky toned look. And it certainly did, but the Floored formula is not my favorite. Let me explain. Can I open this? So this is pretty. It definitely is. It's like neutrally browns with a pop of very, very subtle pink. It was stunning. But these are so soft and so powdery that it was just difficult to apply for that reason. Again, Floored or Floorty, I don't know how to pronounce the brand officially, but they do really affordable makeup. These were like, I think this was like around €5. So it really wasn't expensive. And then I think like for the money you pay, this is decent quality eyeshadow. I mean, you can definitely get some distinct looks out of this. But again, it wasn't as pink as it looked online. So here again, I was a little bit disappointed. The things I liked best from Floored are these Flower Food Bear palettes. I have shade 2, which is the purpley one, and shade 1, which is the blue tone one. And this was really pretty. I got compliments when I wore these to work both times because a lot of people liked it. These are really small though, and I did have to pick them up through AliExpress because YESSTYLE didn't have them anymore. But I thought that this could be a nice thing to try. Here you get sort of like neutrally browns with a pop of blue and a really pretty duochrome shimmer. That's the case in both of them. The blue was a little bit weak, I have to say. The pastel didn't show up all that well, again because of the very soft, powdery formula. But the look I created with it overall, I thought was pretty successful. And the other one, shade number 2, was my favorite of the two. Again, the purple had a bit of issue showing up. But I get a good crease shade here. This is lovely as a liner. The shimmer of this thing is absolutely gorgeous. I think of the Floored palettes, this is the only one I'm going to keep around because this one was the most successful. But yeah, that really soft formula isn't my favorite because it just means you get kick up everywhere, and when you blend it, it kind of like falls down your face. But I want to end this video on a high note. There were 5 palettes that were incredibly successful for me, and the first one was this one. This is by Josie. This is the name of the brand. I also have a couple of their singles. This is the limited edition New Smoky Cyberpunk palette. And when I spotted this on someone's TikTok, I was like, ooh, I'd love to try that. This is the perfect smoky palette with a pop of pink. And I'm like, I was trying so many other palettes this month that had that pinky, like sort of cutesy color story. And now that I've tried this, I'm like, I shouldn't go for the cutesy stuff. I should go for the grungy stuff. Because this is cool tone grungy, and that shimmer in the middle, like it looks red, but it's actually a really pretty pink, and that layered. So many of you were giving me compliments when I was wearing this on my eyes in the videos that went live this weekend, because I used this palette to film those looks with, and I was really, really pleased. Do I need all 9 shades to create the look? Yes. So does this have a lot of distinct variation in the terms of looks I can do with one palette? No. But this was pretty, and even though the formula of this was also quite soft, it didn't have the amount of kick up of some of the other palettes that I tried from C Beauty brands, and there was no weird overspray. Yeah, the shimmer of this in this palette, that really pretty pinky red shade, no overspray. It's an actual like multi-chrome dimensional sort of thing. Really stunning, and this palette was very much worth it. I feel similarly about the eyeshadow palette that is on my eyes today. If you were wondering what was on my on my lids today, it is this Cheeryep palette. This is one of the more expensive things I've tried, so I do want to preface it by saying that, but I did 2 looks with it, and both of them were so stunning. This is a great cooler tone color story that goes nice and deep and smoky, but you also get your gray tones and your neutrals. So stunning. And this has several holographic shimmers in it, and especially the 2 that I made the main shimmer all over the lid. This is the one in the first look. This is the one in the look I'm wearing today. They are multi-chromes as well. So on top of them being incredible, the formula in here isn't as soft as the other things, so this was a lot easier to work with. Really easy blendable shadows. The shimmers feel a little bit soft. When I stick my brush in, I can see the brush sort of like making an indentation like instantly. And when I try picking them up with fingers, it feels a little bit grainy. There's one more flaky shimmer in here, which is this light purple, which is in the inner corner today. And that was the most difficult shade to work with in the entire palette. So pretty. I really enjoyed both looks that I did with this. And what I found remarkable, because I had to do both looks back to back before sitting down to film this video today. So I took off the first look, did this one right after, but they remove super easily, even though they are super sparkly shades, because they look like they're gonna be glitters, but they're not. And very often if eyeshadow is very glittery and you try taking it off, it ends up all over your face. And if you're a contact lens wearer, you're gonna struggle with potentially getting things in your eyes a lot more easily than other people. And glitter in your eyes is not a good thing. It could actually damage your eyeballs. So you don't want to do that. But this, super easy to remove. And I was very chuffed with that Cheeryep palette that I now tried. I'm very happy to say that you'll see another Cheeryep palette in my upcoming Black Friday haul, because I like this one so much. And then the Flower Nose palette. This was sent to me by YESSTYLE. It came in a box. All the other things from K-Beauty and C-Beauty brands I did pay for with my own money. Just full transparency here. But they sent me a box over the summertime for my birthday, and they seem to have put things in that were actually on my wish list, because this thing was on there. This is the Flower Nose Moonlight Mermaid series. And it is the blue toned one. And this was so pretty. So pretty. This shadow is best applied wet, I have to say, to get it to full intensity. But I had so much fun playing with it. This is what I wanted that floored palette with the blue tones to be. And it wasn't quite that. This is really easy to apply. You get a good crease shade. You get something to deepen it up. You get a pop of pastel for the lower lash line or something like that. And 2 beautiful shimmers to round out the look. Is it again just one look in a palette? Yes. But again, let's take a moment for this packaging. Doesn't that just look like a Disney castle on the front? Like such a good fairy tale-like atmosphere. And that's another reason why I wanted to try some more Flower Nose. And also this is a brand I bought something more by in my Black Friday order. Because I was like, I knew just based on swatching these things that I would probably really love these. And finally, the final two palettes are by Girl Cult. And this is a brand that, look at this packaging. It just looks so interesting to me. So reflective and interesting. To me, it looks like a fish. I don't know if I'm the only person. And apparently these are the Strange Tales series, and one of them is fire and the other one is sea, I believe. I'll make sure to put it properly in the description box. My least favorite of the two ended up being this sea version. It is pretty. It's really stunning. It's just that this shade exploded everywhere when I started using it because it is so soft. So there is now like blue shadow everywhere because of how soft that shade is. This shimmer, I'm not sure if you can see, but it has a purpley blue flash. So that is your multi-chrome / duochrome. You get a silver, you get a really nice turquoisey blue. And I thought that this like purpley brown thing was a very random shade to put in, but it blends perfectly into that turquoisey teal shade. So really beautiful, but I didn't love the formula of this all that much. It felt a little bit dry. So the one I actually like the best is the reddish toned one. And I believe this one sold out ages ago. The blue one you can still buy, I think. So this is a bit warmer tone, but you get a neutrally sort of beige shade, a red, this really interesting black with red shade that actually shows up. Black with a tone of red on your lids. Mind-boggling. And then look at this shade in the middle. It's like the same sort of thing as what I've got going on my lids today. This is so pretty. It's multi-chrome and holographic at the same time. And that's one of the reasons why I like this one better than I do this one, because the blue purpley thing is just your standard multi-duochrome kind of shifty thing, whereas this has that added layer of sparkle that's really unexpected and it gives a really interesting look. So these were the 5 palettes I enjoyed the most, together with like the Makeup by Mario and the Sigma stuff. But of all the K-Beauty and C-Beauty stuff, if you were looking for recommendations, I would say try Girl Cult. They are a little bit pricier. Like I think these were 15 euros each, but I think they're worth trying and the packaging is absolutely stunning. The Josie one and their singles are lovely too. Flower Nose and Cheeryep. So those would be my 5 recommendations of all the new stuff that I tried. I hadn't tried any of these brands before, so I'm really happy to now have found some new favorite-ish brands that I would like to explore a bit more. I've rambled on for long enough, I think. Those were 17 eyeshadow palettes that I tried in December. We made it because it was my aim to try all the eyeshadow palettes I had already shown you in a haul before the end of the year. This is the first time in years that has been achieved by me, because very often I will have bought things in like October and I don't get to it until February. But this time I was like, you know what? There are lots of small things here, a lot of things where it's 1 or 2 looks per palette. I think I can do it, and I did. So I really hope you enjoyed watching this video today. Starting tomorrow, I will be doing my end of year favorites for you. So if you want to stay tuned and hear all of my thoughts on my actual favorite eyeshadow palettes of the year. And then at the start of January, I will also be ranking all of the eyeshadow palettes that I tried in 2024. So I would like to stay tuned for all of that goodness. And then I really hope to see you again in the next one. Thumbs up this video in the meantime and subscribe so you can stay updated when I post new videos. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.